Candyman.
No brain, no pain.
Hi, this is Linda Day George, and the Hysteria continues.
And indeed you are. Welcome back to the Hysteria continues. And I hope you're going to charge your glasses because, yes, it is that every year there is now a kind of an institution, isn't it? Arguably, we should all be in an institution, but it is the institution of the Hysteria continues Drunkcast. And what better movie? Unfortunately, Rob Zombie hasn't made any more Halloween movies. I say unfortunately in inverted commas. So we're going to move on to something completely different. And this is how can I describe this, Nathan? This is your choice. And it's like the Skinner Max slasher movie from the early 90s. The Last Dance. Would that be a fair?
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay. Well, this is Nathan's choice, but I was going to say, yes, this is the Drunkcast. So if you are listening at home, then I hope you have charged your glasses. And Nathan, could you give everyone at home, in case they haven't already got this, what is your recipe for an Athonian?
Oh, yes. It is vodka, sangria, and fruit punch.
Ah, okay. Yes, that's right. For some reason, I thought it was vodka, red wine, and sangria and fruit punch. But that would be overkill, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry, Erik?
I said, not for you.
Well, I'm starting on with a much more innocent. I'm just having basically it's a fizzy mineral water. And when I say fizzy mineral water, it's actually a vodka martini, a double. So that's my drink of choice for tonight. So God help us all. But yes, so we are going to be covering The Last Dance, and maybe this will be the last podcast. So I keep on calling it The Last Dance. It's just called Last Dance, isn't it? But will this be the last podcast? Is we'll see by the end of it. So after last year's sort of extravaganza, Nathan, do you still find me classy?
Yes. I think you're also very classy still.
Well, it's good. All is right with the world. So anyway, so Nathan, are you looking forward to covering this? And what are you drinking tonight?
I'm very much looking forward to covering this because I can't wait to hear what you guys think about it. I am currently having a beer. I did take a shot of moonshine though before the podcast, so
what there's that. Real moonshine.
I guess so. It's like legal. It's not illegal or anything. Like I bought it at the liquor store.
So you won't go blind from drinking it?
No, not this. No, it actually tastes like peanut butter and chocolate.
Wow. I think Erik,
that's not moonshine.
Are you sure that's not Reese's peanut butter?
It says moonshine on the jar.
Wow. So, well, maybe you should have a couple more shots. And Erik, I know you always enjoy stiff ones. So what are you drinking tonight?
Well, my one's very stiff tonight. I'm having a very large, because it's directly proportional to my willy, Beefeater London Blood Orange Gin with tonic.
So, in other words, is that in a shot glass? Is that in a shot glass?
No, it's in a big bulbous glass.
Okay, right. And Joseph,
it's like pots, Justin.
It's like a what?
A vase.
A vase. A baby's
Like a
arm.
vase. Yeah, so it's and it's not bar measures, it's Erik measures. So there's quite a lot of gin in it. But
Okay.
I've only just started sipping at it. So
Okay, well, fair enough. And Joseph, how about you? What are you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm drinking a pint of beer, 2 of them actually. I'm on my first one. I've got ice cream cookies. It's not a drink. It's vapor. So I'm doing 2 things. I'm drinking and I'm getting stoned. So
Wow. So it's taking us in a whole new direction, maybe.
and my girlfriend just flushed the toilet. So I hope you didn't hear that.
what's the cat?
Yeah, she got.
It may have been the cat, maybe.
Well, I can see this is going to get very strange. But before we get too incoherent,
We
then
need to work out a code word if we need to go to the loo. So I suggest maybe shouting out, "I need to do a wee." As the
Or it could be like you season 3, and we could be like Hakuna Matata. Whenever we go pee.
very good. So, well, before we get too incoherent, then let's have a little chat about what we've been watching recently. So, Nathan, as this is your choice, is there anything else you've seen that you want to tell us about?
Well, I mean, I've mainly just been watching stuff I've already seen. So, there's that. I mean, my 2 movie is still Sleepaway Camp Part 3. I love that movie. I watched it again last night. I finished You season 3 and I enjoyed it. It's really ridiculous and outlandish, but that's kind of why I love it. And I'm still watching the Chucky show, which I'm really enjoying as well. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's about it for me.
Well, that's okay. I haven't quite finished You season 3. We've got a couple more episodes to go. But I've been enjoying it. It's you still watching it, Joseph? Or have you not started it yet? I can't remember if you.
No, I've finished it. So
Okay.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the first 2 seasons a lot better, but I still enjoyed the heck out of season 3.
Cool. Okay. And the Chucky series I've not seen, but I've heard some really good feedback on that. People seem to be really enjoying it. So is it one time they got it right? Because I know sort of Chucky's had a bit of a checkered history, but this is definitely a recommend from you, Nathan.
Yes, I really enjoy it.
Cool. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you. Well, Joseph, how about you? What have you been watching?
I honestly don't know. I mean, I think I saved all my recently seen for the Halloween Kills episode. I don't really think I've really watched much since we recorded that episode. It's mainly just been kind of TV shows or kind of comfort things, so nothing really new to report on. Sorry.
No, well, fair enough. Talking of Halloween Kills, I'd like to apologise for my outburst. Sorry, not sorry. So, what?
It was that way.
Yeah.
It's a what?
I'm glad you brought that. Sorry, go ahead, Justin. I'll mention it after you get done. Your
No.
apology.
Well, it wasn't. I'm not going to make an apology. I stand by everything I said. So there. So.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who actually listened to the show, because that episode is doing like really crazy numbers wise. So I'm really happy that you guys are listening to the show or watching it on YouTube or whatever. So thank you.
Excellent. Okay. And Erik, what about you?
You dirty nun fucker.
Oops, finger slipped. Yes, I've actually seen 3 brand new films.
Wow.
Okay, all sequels. I saw Escape Room 2. Well, I think it's just called Escape Room Tournament of Champions, which is a sequel to it was a 2018, 2019 film.
Is it as good as
Yeah.
the first one? Okay.
It is. It's much more of the same thing. It's got the 2 survivors of the first film come back, and they come to the big city to try and find the evil corporation, and they end up in another escape room with lots of other previous people who've had previously been in escape rooms as well. So that's why it's called the Tournament of Champions. It's great fun. Really, really, really far-fetched. It's if you saw the first one, it's very much like Saw on a slightly more popcorny level. And it's, as I said, very far-fetched, very kind of silly, so it doesn't have that kind of nastiness that the Saw films had. So yeah, I really liked it. I would say highly recommended. It's just more of the same. It doesn't reinvent the wheel at all, but I thought it was great fun. So yeah, I recommend that one. Another sequel I saw was what's it called again? Paranormal. I'm forgetting already, and I've only had like 2 sips of my gin and tonic. Paranormal Activity: Next of Kin, which is number 7 or number 8. It's number 7 in the Paranormal Activity series. It kind of reboots it because it's been on a hiatus for about 5 or 6 years. I'm the sole person in the world who actually loved Paranormal Activity: Ghost Dimension, which was the most recent one up until this point. I thought it was brilliant. And I love the Paranormal Activity series in general. Parts 2 and 4, a bit lackluster compared to the others, but 1, 3, 5, and 6 I thought were terrific. And this one, it's more of the same, but slightly different because it's more or less based around a cult. So it's kind of like the Midsummer or Wicker Man version of Paranormal Activity. So it didn't grab me quite as much. I missed the kind of haunted house antics of the previous ones, but I mean, it was okay. There's some really genuinely creepy scares in it, but yeah, I wasn't as pushed on the cult angle as I was on the haunted house angle of the previous ones. I don't know, has anyone had a chance to see that yet? It only came out a few weeks ago.
No.
I didn't even know they. I thought like there were like 3 or 4 of these movies. I didn't know there were like 7 already.
Yes,
Wow.
so there was 1, 2, 3, 4. Then there was the marked ones and Ghost Dimension, which brings us up to 6. And this Next of Kin then is 7. And the final one I saw, another sequel, was Don't Breathe 2. I watched Don't Breathe 1 as well to refresh myself before that. And the first Don't Breathe I really like. I thought it was really clever. Of course, these kids break into a house to try and steal this guy's riches. He's a blind man, so they think it'll be a piece of cake, but he's an ex-Navy SEAL, so it's less of a piece of cake than they anticipated. Part 2 is kind of pushes the blind man into the status of the hero of the piece. He has... It's weird. It's got a weird setup. He abducted a little girl from a house fire and brought her up as his own daughter. So it's set many years later, and that daughter is abducted by her biological father, who is a bit of a thug, and he has to go rescue her. So it's more of a Liam Neeson Taken type of movie, this one, and it doesn't really utilize the sort of the blind angle of the main character. Like in the first one, you had the people breaking into the house and having to say deathly still and silent and sort of creep around him so to avoid detection, but it doesn't do any of that in the sequel. So it's less of a suspense film, I would say. It was decent enough, but it was only about half as good as the first one, I reckon. Whereas Escape Room 2 was definitely very much as good as the original. Don't Breathe 2 for me is a drop in quality, but still worth a watch, I think.
Because wasn't it in the original? I haven't seen that one, but in the original, didn't he have like a turkey baster in the basement where he was kind of trying to get women pregnant? So
he was
so strange to make him the hero of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's very strange. It's because in the first one, the kids who break into the house really should be the villains of the piece, but the way the film works is that they're our heroes and we want them to escape. In this one, the people who are antagonizing the blind man are even more evil than he is. So, by default, he becomes the hero.
Very strange. I have seen, incidentally, I have seen the Escape Room. Is it not Breakfast of Champions? What is it called? Game of Champions or whatever it is.
Tournament
of Champions. That's the one. So
Breakfast of Champions. It's good.
Yeah, but I did.
Breakfast Champions is a cigarette and a coffee, isn't it? Oh no, that's a horse breakfast. Sorry.
Is it? Well, you would know. But I really enjoyed it. I mean, it is like me and Stuart have got this thing when we watch a film like that, we always turn to each other at the end and go, "That could happen to you," because they're so ridiculous. But it was so over the top and so silly. I did like, without giving anything away, the film does take a bit of a turn at some point in it that you can have maybe it caught me off guard, which was welcome. But it was just so over the top and so silly But sometimes you just need those kind of films, don't you, to turn your brain off and just go with the flow. I thought that was a lot of fun. So, and as far as the Paranormal Activity, I'm interested. I did see that pop up, and I haven't seen that one yet. But because I thought I'd read somewhere that they're rebooting it again, doing going to be like another big screen. Because was this one didn't go to cinemas?
I think it was supposed to go to cinemas, but it went to Apple TV or one of those streaming services.
Okay.
Did you guys hear about? Sorry to change the subject, but did you guys hear about the Exorcist reboot and how Jamie Lee Curtis wants to be a part of it?
She wasn't the voice, doesn't she, of the Beelzebub?
Did you know she was? Well, you probably know this. She was really approached, or Janet Leigh was approached to cast her daughter in the first Exorcist, but she said no.
I think they should let her have it. Yeah, let her take the reins.
Well, she's recovered quite nicely from Halloween Kills. She didn't do anything in that film, so she's got plenty of puff left in her, hasn't she?
Let it go, Justin.
Yeah, let it go. Oh.
God, it's not Frozen. Well, thank you, Erik. Anything, Nathan? Have you seen any of those?
No, but I do want to see them.
Yes,
you'll enjoy the Escape Room sequel, I think.
Yeah, because I like the first one. So
yeah.
Excellent. My only other thing to mention, Justin, is that I bought the new Forza Horizon game for my Xbox, which is a racing car game, and you customize the number plate on the car. And on a previous one, the car was called Toya, but for Forza Horizon 5, which is the new one, I tried to put Lamal as the number plate. And I got a message saying we don't accept rude words, and I'm like, what?
Really?
What?
How strange.
Yes. So I changed it to Adamant, and that was fine. But what's wrong with Lamal?
Wow. So
why didn't you go with Thrill Ho?
So on the
Thrill House, Erik?
For that, yes.
So on the previous game, so you were able to put Toya. What kind of car was it? Like an old banger?
No, it was a luxury multi-million-pound diamond-encrusted car.
Okay, fair enough. So, right. Well, I just got a couple of things I've watched. We have our kind of every fortnight we have a film night with some friends, and they choose one of the films, and they've got a kind of they love really bad 70s movies, so of course it's that's all good, but they chose a film that I think Nathan would probably quite enjoy. It's called Vampire Hookers. Have you seen Vampire Hookers with John Carradine?
Yes, I love Vampire Hookers.
I thought you might. Yes, it's kind of an American film from, I think it's 1978. It's one of those kind of Philippine shot kind of vampire or horror movies. I think there's quite a few of them in the 70s. They probably kind of, there's some tax break or something to film them there. But you got John Carradine as a Shakespeare quoting vampire. He just goes off in his soliloquies, or if that's the right word, just reciting Shakespeare throughout it. He's got 3 nubile vampire ladies all in chiffon. And also like a wannabe vampire, Filipino vampire, who spends most of the movie farting. So it's a classy affair.
Sorry?
He just farts all the way through it. He farts so much that he actually has a hose pipe coming out of his coffin because he farts so much. So,
wow. Are you sure you're not hallucinating?
No, he's not hallucinating.
I'm not hallucinating.
How much have you had to drink tonight, Justin?
No, well, Nathan, back me up on this.
Yes, he is absolutely correct. And Vampire Hookers is a very funny horror comedy.
Yes, it has a sex scene that goes on for the best part of an hour and a half, doesn't it? There's basically the funny thing is the Vampire Hookers, they don't never charge for anything, do they? So I'm not quite sure what they're called why they're supposed to be hookers, but they can allure sailors back and have their wicked way with them before killing them, basically. It's kind of it's the only movie that I've seen that ends with one of the side characters farting and then looking at the camera in the way of apologising. So anyway, a classy time was had by all. The only other thing I've watched is I bought the 101 Blu-ray when I was back in the UK of Hell Night. You may have heard of that film, and obviously the Linda Blair classic. And I know it had been come out on Screen Factory in the United States, and 101 Films put out the pretty much kind of a identical release of it. I think most of the special features were the same. So we watched that as well on a double bill with Vampire Hookers, as you do. And obviously, I loved the film. I always loved the film. But I was surprised, and this is no shade at Screen Factory or 101, but the Blu-ray looks pretty ropey, if I'm to be honest. And I did some reading up about it, and I found out that they could only all the original elements have disappeared. They couldn't find them. So it isn't what I was hoping for picture-wise. In fact, I even think actually my old, was it Anchor Bay put it out years ago? I can't remember. But was it Anchor Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think wasn't that like one of the very first DVDs released, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I think it's, but if you got this, Erik, did you pick up that release?
I have the Screen. Yeah, I have the Screen Factory one.
And it's good. I mean, was it? I did read. I read reviews of it, and it said that they used the best elements they could find. But it was a disappointment, and I understand. You know, it's no shade against them. It's just a shame that those elements have disappeared because it's a beautifully. It looks great. I mean, it's got a great like gothic slasher movie from the early '80s, and it's just a shame that we may never see a better version of it. But obviously, can look past that. The film itself is a hell of a lot of fun, of course. So
some good elements they want, though. In my kettle.
Here's
what?
If I could be a little sorry, I could be a little controversial. The more I watch Hell Night, the less I like it. Like I like Justin. I think I love the atmosphere and I like the characters, but I just think it kind of somebody's pooping on me while I'm trying to talk.
That was Harold shitting on the movie.
Yeah, I love the atmosphere and I love the characters, but I just think it kind of takes a while to get going. The more I watch it, the more I realize that. But anyway,
I think there's
between you hating Hell Night and Justin hating Halloween Kills, we're going to be cancelled any second now. Actually, we've just been cancelled.
We've just been cancelled.
Yeah, well, we've been doing this 11 years. I think it's time to be cancelled. We got away with a lot.
Yeah, I don't hate sort of Hell. I mean, I love Hell Night, and I do think it possibly it could have get going a little bit quicker. And I think some of the stuff like with the ghost sort of projection kind of thing is kind of a little bit odd. But just as an aside, because Owen Yablin's couldn't, because he produced this as well, didn't he? And it was his follow-up. He thought it was a big money maker. It's kind of on line with Halloween, and obviously Hell Night famously or infamously didn't do particularly well when it was first released in a very crowded marketplace in 1981. But I was watching the new series on Netflix, the movies that made us. I think that's what it's called. And they, I think it's a third season of that. And that's
weird because I have been watching that too.
Because I've only seen the Halloween one so far, and the Friday the 13th. There's a Friday the 13th one, a Nightmare on Elm Street one. I think a RoboCop one. And I did get caught. I spoke to their production team. Must be best part of a year, if not more ago. About, they phoned me up and asking me about these movies, and I spoke to them, didn't get paid, say Netflix very tight, so it's interesting to see, but I find it a bit of an awkward fit in some ways. I mean, what are your thoughts on it, Joseph? Because it's going for that comedic route, isn't it? But it kind of works sometimes, and sometimes it falls a bit flat.
So are you asking me? Are you saying that you find like the films like Halloween and Friday the 13th, you find them kind of an odd fit with the comedic tone of that show?
Not necessarily. No, not at all. But I just find what they do with them, because when they're interviewing the people who are involved in the films, it feels a bit odd to sort of shoehorn this kind of comedy into it.
Yeah, it's almost like they have this kind of happy-go-lucky kind of tone, like, oh my God, we were doing dailies at this time, and they were just kind of laughing about it. And even if the scene that they're talking about is serious, the one on Back to the Future is good because it has that kind of that charming tone, so it kind of fits with that. But stuff like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween, I don't know, it just kind of feels that they're a little too jokey with those particular films when they should be a little more serious, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of how I sort of felt. I mean, I haven't seen the Friday 13th or the Nightmare on Elm Street one. Stuart went to bed halfway through the Halloween one and said, God, this is really geeky, which maybe it is, I don't know. But I enjoyed it, but it was kind of...
Tell Stuart that's like the perfect descriptor because it's very geeky. It's very geeky friendly.
Well, but the problem with Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Elm Street episodes is that it's all stuff we know already just from being geeks, I suppose. And there being so many DVD releases with so many special features, it doesn't really offer anything new. It is interesting to watch them, but I think I'd love them to take on films that haven't had extensive Blu-ray releases.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's just that for me, it's kind of the people they're talking to aren't necessarily in on the joke. So as in like they're talking to them about making the film and they're having fun with it, but then they do this it's almost like, hey, we're going to be really wacky, and then just kind of make some joke, and then like a boing noise. I mean, basically, it's exactly the same as this fucking show, isn't it? So, but anyway,
yes.
So, okay, well, is there anything else we want to talk about that we've been watching recently, or are we going to move on to the main cocktail of the week?
Oh my goodness, this movie.
Well, let's just hope there's no fish hooks in your Nathonians. If you're listening to this, do check at the bottom of the glass, because who knows when someone's out to do you in, as it were. So, Nathan, are you going to bring us back in after this? Is there even a trailer for this movie, Joseph?
There is no trailer, but I do have a sequence from the film lined up. So,
okay, right. Well, let's listen to the sequence for Last Dance, and then Nathan, you can come in and give us your impassioned plea about why we should accept this as the best movie of the 90s. Are you up to the job, Nathan?
I am up to the job.
Okay.
The best film of the 90s? Is that what you said?
Well, I know he's going to make a case. Well, maybe he won't say it's the best film of the 90s, but I know Nathan is well known and well loved for his passionate defenses of movies that some other people may see as how can I put it? Well, anyway, let's just get on with it. So here is a sequence from Last Dance, and we'll come back in with Nathan. So here it is.
Don't compare yourself to the other girls. They get paid to dance, and that's what they do.
Oh, and who taught them? I did.
Yes, you did. You're the best choreographer in L.A. But they get more because they do more.
I do more than anyone else in this club.
Is that a fact?
Yes, it is. Rick spends more time watching the girls than he does tending bar, and the girls...
The girls dance, and that's what brings in the business, dancing.
Okay, so let me dance. Jim, I've asked you 1,000 times.
You've asked me too many times, and I'm tired of saying no.
Why? Tell me why.
Because, my sweet Meryl, men like younger dancers. That's the way it is. It's not up to me. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Only the sexy die young. 5 of the world's most beautiful exotic dancers are competing for the title of Miss Dance TV. Tonight on national television, scantily clad and eager for success, they'll put on a show like no other. The live broadcast is about to begin. The music's queued up, the girls are pumped up, but things start to screw up when the dancers keep turning up dead. It's a very interesting description.
I like the multiple uses of up.
Yeah.
Start me up. You got to start me up. Carry away, Nathan. Sorry.
I saw this on USA Up All Night and way back in the day, and I loved it. I thought it was just so cheesy and over the top ridiculousness, which is exactly what I look for in a movie. I mean, the killer kills people with like buckets, and one character's killed with a branch, which is a very interesting murder weapon. And yeah, it's there's a lot of like dialogue between the dancers, like it's a whodunit. So you're having to wonder, who the killer is, and everybody's got their reasons as to why they would be the killer. There's people like Meryl, who's the instructor who used to be the best dancer in town, but not anymore. Speaking of which, I felt bad for Meryl because at one point she actually does perform on the dance TV, and she does a really good job, and the people filming it are kind of rude about her. which I think is very
they're like
wrong.
That thing you had last up there. I'm like, what?
I know.
I think she was the most passionate dancer of them all, and she gets so berated. It's just not fair.
No, not
She's
at all.
so old. She's ancient. She must be about 31.
Well, I do think it was strange. It's almost like that part was written for somebody who was a bit sort of, I don't know, over the hill. But she didn't look over the hill, did she? As in like somebody who was maybe, a bit podgy.
Well, this is coming from the lone hetero on the show, but I thought she was incredible. She was just extremely gorgeous. I mean, I thought she was the hottest woman there, honestly. And they treat her like she's the crypt keeper.
And have you checked out her more risque performances?
I've seen a couple of her risque performances. Yes, I have, actually.
Okay, well, we'll talk about those later. So, but sorry, Nathan, do you want to...
Oh, no, you're fine. So I'm a really big fan of Last Dance. I love all the characters and the setting. I love the creepy janitor, who at the end just seems to like run like at the final girl. I can understand why she thinks he's the killer.
Is he supposed to be dumb?
I love all the dance sequences.
Is he supposed to be dumb?
What?
As in, can he speak, or does he just choose not to?
I don't know. I don't think they ever really say.
Because at the end of the movie, he kind of runs towards after, and then there's somebody dead on the bar. And he doesn't go, "Oh my God, there's someone dead on the bar. I'm not the killer," does he?
No, he doesn't. But it's sort of like Orville Ketchum from Hard to Die. He never tells them I'm not the killer. He just
no one has a conversation in these films. In this film in particular, like no one stops to say, "Hey, why are we chasing one another?"
So Nathan,
anyway,
carry on.
Continue.
Carry on.
There's like very like Skinamax type sex scenes in this movie, which obviously is a stunt woman because you don't really see the face. You just see like the boobs and stuff like that. And
is it the same boobs? Because I noticed there was a lot of stunt boobs in this movie. And I feel
like it was the same one.
Yes, I think you're probably right. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in these things, but
yeah,
that's true.
But yeah, like I said, I liked all the girls. I found like their whole dynamic a lot of fun. Even jealous Kelly, who she's dating Jim, who owns the bar, and he's pretty much sleeping with any dancer that will sleep with him. And he's not even really good at trying to hide it either. Like it just seems to like flaunt it in a way. But I love the finale when you think it's over, and then of course like you get the attack scene at the end, which is hilarious. Like I love the scene when she gets the killer in the bathtub and throws the hair dryer in, but it comes unplugged. And I love that. She had to go plug it back up. There's a lot to say about it, but I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about it. So I'm going to start with Joseph. What did you think of Last Dance?
Well, you'll be surprised to hear this, Nathan, but I had a kick out of this film. I was looking at Jim's bar, and it's kind of this little seedy shithole, and yet he's got this apparently this very popular TV thing coming into his bar to televise 5 dancers, and it's going to be nationwide. And I'm thinking, okay, how's he paying for this? Because like he's got 12 patrons in the bar. He's got to pay his bartender his 5% commission for selling his part. The dancers are getting like $2,000 a night, and he's got to cover overhead. And I'm like, how's he affording all this? And meanwhile, he's sleeping with every single girl in the club. He's having to juggle finances and all this stuff. So this is a dude who's obviously on a lot of cocaine, I think. And that's what this movie felt like. It felt like the last grasp of someone in 1992 saying, you know what, I wish it was 1987. Let's do a lot of cocaine. Let's get a bunch of aspiring actresses together and have them take their clothes off and, you know, writhe around on stage and behind the scenes and have sex with Jim. And that's what this movie is every girl's going to have sex with Jim. Every girl's going to be jealous that one girl's sleeping with Jim. And it's just Jim, Jim, Jim. And I started thinking I was watching Boarding House, which is a good thing. So weirdly enough, Last Dance kind of reminded me of Boarding House in a way, that whole Jim thing there. But no, I like this film. I think some of the death scenes are kind of, I don't know. They're bloodless and some of them are kind of samey, but some of them are so audacious that they're just kind of laughable. Like the one girl who's walking down the hall and she just kind of turns into this noose and she gets, strung up. I thought that was hilarious. The killer uses a bucket.
That could happen to you.
Yeah, it could happen to me, as Stuart would say. I thought the fact that the killer used a bucket more than once to kill, like the killer used the bucket on the two guys, like Bill and Ted or Wayne and Garth types who won the contest. They used a bucket on them. And you were talking about the janitor. It's like every scene that the janitor's in where he's trying to like chase after, like quote unquote chase the final girl, he just basically runs toward the camera. And they show the same shot over and over and over. And it's like no one talks to one another. It's like, hey, I'm not a killer. I'm just trying to help you. And then you got the final girl who just basically is the new girl in town. You expect her to be the killer, but she's not. Her only function in this movie is to show up, get hired, and then be the final girl. She basically kind of disappears through the rest of the film until she's asked to dance at the end. But anyway, she's facing off this janitor who she thinks is the killer, and I guess he thinks she's the killer, and she sprays him with one of those fire extinguishers. It's like, can no one stop and talk? I mean, everyone else is dead. I mean, you got plenty of, quiet time to sit down and talk this out. But no, I had a lot of fun with Last Dance. I think it's very Melrose Place on a $5 budget where everyone's sleeping with one another. Everyone doesn't like that. Everyone's jealous. And someone's going around with a bucket and killing people. I mean, what more could you ask for from 1992? So, yeah, thumbs up for me, Nathan. I actually enjoyed this film as bad as it is.
Awesome. I have to say, though, I love the scene at the end when the killer's confronting the final girl and the final girl's like, I never did anything against you. This is not fair.
Yeah, and
you're trying to reason with a psycho.
I didn't take any notes on this, honestly. I was just trying to remember things off the top of my head. But this movie actually is that memorable. I love the scene. I'm sorry to keep going here, but I love the scene where we learned that the bartender, Rick, he was paid off before the club became like big. He was paid like basically $40,000 a year to remain on as bartender, and so Jim reaped all the profits. And they had that TV station there, and they're filming all this. And Jim's feeling a little stressed. He goes up to get a drink. And he's like, "Give me a double." He's like, "A double of what?" He's like, "A double of anything." And the guy won't pour the drink. He's like, "Look, if you don't want to work here, just fucking quit." And Jim's like, "Fuck you." And I love that Jim has to go take a leak every time someone dies. So they want you to think he's the killer when he's not the killer.
Can I say, just talking about the killer, because obviously we will spoil this if you've not seen Last Dance. Now, I was surprised who the killer was. I had someone else pegged, as it were. As the killer.
I agree with you, Justin. I actually had two people that I thought was the killer, and I was wrong. So this is one movie that actually fooled me. So I didn't guess the killer.
Nathan, what about you? Did you pick the killer?
I feel like when I watched it, I was so young, I don't know that I was actually trying to guess who the killer was. So I mean, I didn't guess the killer, but I don't know that I was necessarily trying to guess who was doing it. Who was your suspect, Justin?
Meryl. I thought Meryl was probably because she was jealous of all the younger girls, and Tim didn't fancy her anymore because she was all of 27 years old or whatever. So I kind of thought that it was probably going to be her. So I was surprised, and it turned out it wasn't her.
Right. Well, Justin, what did you think of Last Dance?
I enjoyed it with reservations. I mean, I say one thing I can say categorically: it's not a Rob Zombie movie, so therefore it has points in the plus side already. But I kind of really enjoyed it. I kind of found the bits when they kind of stopped for the sex scene, and it was just like that kind of sort of softcore, kind of lots of boobs and not much else. It kind of everything literally ground to a halt. And I think if you're kind of really interested in boobs, then that may be a highlight for you. But for me, it kind of felt, I know that's the kind of movie they were making. They weren't making a serious thriller. But when they, and I kind of thought, one thing I missed from it, I thought they could have done a little bit more kind of Showgirls-esque bitchery, a bit more kind of, the girls fighting a bit, maybe a cat fight or something might have, made it a bit more camp, I'm going to guess. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I mean, especially, I think the dance scenes, again, I kind of, everything grinds to a halt, and you've got like people frogging in, to sort of bad early 90s kind of dance music for like 5 minutes. And I understand the audience, what audience they were going for, that it's kind of like a Skinamax thing. So again, no shade on that, but it wasn't until the kind of the last 20 minutes for me that it kind of came alive, and I really enjoyed that kind of the whole silliness of the over the top thing of the killer being taken out by a disco ball. I mean, you couldn't make it up, and that's fantastic. And then to be disfigured by the disco ball and then come back in the epilogue to attack the final girl one last time, pure genius. I mean, I love that. And I love the opening scenes with, like, is it Francine or Francie having the shower, and what kind of movie you're going to get to, because there she is in the shower and she starts going ooh, starts lavering up her boobs, and you just know where you're going to go with this. And I loved, just things like Meryl saying, just picking up the phone and saying, "Send me 6 of your best dancers right away," as if that's something you can do. Things like that. It's just lots of fun. But I enjoy it. But I think if they pushed it a bit further in the over the top campery, and a little bit less boobage and a little less kind of frogging, then I would like it more. But overall, I think it's a perfect drunk cast pick, Nathan. So kudos to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yay.
Erik?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised by this one as well. I mean, I had very low expectations. It's a film I'd never heard of till you mentioned it, actually, Nathan. And just the fact that it was 1992, it was, I'm assuming, straight to video or straight to TV movie. But I had a lot of fun with it as well. Like a lot of its brethren from this era, it's kind of low on gore, and it's certainly low on budget, but it's very campy and very early 90s. The opening theme song, which I'm guessing was probably called Last Dance as well, it reminded me of Gonna Make You Sweat by CNC Music Factory. I don't know if anyone picked up on that. I know you probably didn't, Justin, because it's not a goth song. You probably never heard of CNC Music Factory.
Is that Sister Mercy cover band?
Oh, Justin, honestly. I love the dancing in the film. I mean, I know you were saying, Justin, that it seems to grind to a halt when there's a dance sequence, but that's when I really begin to enjoy the film. The sex scene, less so. Again, as you said, it's very early 90s and booby-tastic, but it's just not for me. Had the bloke been Bob Hoskins, yes, the film would have got an extra 2 stars, maybe 3 stars for that. But yeah, the dancing here, it's marginally better than the dancing we saw in Murder Rock, which we covered recently. But you can still tell that time was of the essence, and that they didn't really get a huge amount of rehearsal time for it. But that I love it all the more for that. I love how flat the atmosphere at the live TV broadcast is. As Joseph was saying, it's weird that this tiny little club that looks like any old club in any old town is having this big contest and this big TV outside broadcast. But really, it's this unenthusiastic presenter, and there's a crowd of about 20 people who clap politely. Apart from the two contest winners, who really reminded me of Jay and Silent Bob. I mean, the one with the long hair is definitely Silent Bob, and I'm sure I know. I wouldn't go so far as to say that Kevin Smith saw this film and was inspired, but he really reminded me of that character, and they are actually quite annoying. In fact, they're actually totally annoying, but they do get what they deserved, as Nathan would say, on the receiving end of the evil bucket. I actually did some research. Apparently 12,000 people a year die from buckets. Did you know that? So it's not as ridiculous as it sounds.
They're very dangerous by the sound of it.
Well, are they murdered by buckets, or are they just like mishaps?
I may have made up that fact myself. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, it's I love how many red herrings there are. As with Justin, I thought it was going to be the older dancer. I can't remember. Meryl,
yes.
Yeah, I thought because she's as I said, she's in her early 30s or something, that she's over the hill, and I thought it was going to be like an aerobicide thing where she's jealous of the other dancers. So I didn't guess that Lisa Luder was the killer. We'll get into that in the background, I'm sure, that Lisa Luder reference. I love that the dancers in this tiny little horrible club are paid $2,000 a night. Well, they're probably paid more than $2,000 a night, because the girl who's just started there is offered $2,000 a night. Now, if you danced 5 nights a week, 52 weeks a year, that's over $500,000. That's a decent salary. I'm going to become a dancer in a club.
I can see it, Eric. I can see you
dance around a motorcycle. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you on a mobility scooter.
Hey, how rude!
What? In like chapless pants?
Arseless chaps.
That'd be a good name for a band.
Yeah, but then see, if I win the contest and I become the new Miss DTV, then I can earn extra money from doing pop videos and movies and stuff. So that's even more money on top of that. So I have it all worked out anyway. So I love the character of the VJ Ricky Topper. He's this film's equivalent of Blaze from New Year's Evil, but he just seems so unenthusiastic in his line delivery to the live TV audience. And as I said, everyone's acting like it's this huge America's Got Talent show, but it has the production values of, sorry, Nathan, Old Federal Massacre 2. Sorry, Nathan, I'm sorry.
The shade.
But the energy, the energy, get ready for more shades, Justin. The energy in the club is so low key, it might as well be a Susie concert.
Oh, Eric. God.
Yes, I went there.
You're on fire.
Sorry?
You're on fire. Well, someone set you on fire.
And I love that Ricky, the VJ, he's so famous that when he leaves the club, 3 people come clamoring up to him to look for his autograph. Wow. So yeah, I did enjoy the film. The dance sequences work good for me. The slasher element, the deaths aren't exactly Tom Savini-esque, are they? Let's be fair. But I mean, they're interesting enough, with the spiked drink literally and the noose and all that. And they're fairly interesting. But for me, the sort of dance and the interactions between the dancers backstage is what really carries the film, I would say. The finale is great, as you said, and the coda to the film where the killer comes back dressed as a kind of a bellboy or something, I thought was terrific. And of course, the glitter ball hitting them on the head was a standout moment as well. So pleasantly surprised with this one, Nathan. I wouldn't say it's a classic. I'm not sure it's one I'd return to very often, but I did enjoy it for the one-time watch. So
awesome.
Hey, Nathan, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So what do you think? Kelly, obviously we find out that Kelly is the killer, and Kelly is one of the other dancers who is jealous that everyone is sleeping with Tim. What do you think, what was her idea? Was it to sort of kill all her competition so she could be crowned Miss Dance TV? Do you think that's what...
I mean, maybe so, because she seemed pretty jealous when she attacked Jamie at the end of the movie, and she's like, how do you feel now, Miss DTV? Like she seemed pretty like upset. And, actually just going off on a little tangent here, is Jamie's win really a big thing? Because all her competitors are dead. So she kind of won Miss DTV by default.
This is true.
Yeah, and she seems a little bit like almost as if it's the way it's painted at the end. It's almost like she thought. It's almost like she was kind of glad that everyone was dead, and she'd got. There wasn't a prize that she was going to go onto like a sort of a very cheap video. Well, like a cheap video, like a toy video or something. Very kind of budget.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Is that one of Toya's songs? I wish it was. Is it? Oh yeah, that's "World Shut Your Mouth." But so I wasn't quite sure what her motivation was. Obviously, she hated that everyone's sleeping with Tim, but then she came up behind him and shoved something in his back, didn't she? So yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what her motivation was.
So it wasn't to get Jim all to herself.
Was it Jim?
She tells him too.
Tim? Jim or Tim?
Who'd you guys think was the best dancer?
Jim.
Yeah, Jim. Tim. Why calling him Tim?
Tim Jim.
Toya.
Well, she wasn't the best dancer. I can imagine it's the kind of movie she'd be in the early 90s.
Shade.
Yeah. So, what other things have we got to talk about Last Dance? I mean, the fact is, it was set around a bar, wasn't it? So that was good. And they were drinking all the way through, which I appreciated. I thought that added an extra sense of, gave it a sense of cinema verity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was like watching a 4D movie for you, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. It really was. But and I did like the fact that it had that kind of almost like I still know what you did last summer, that Kelly wins the dance competition, and she goes off presumably to make a pop video at this glamorous hotel, which obviously you don't know is glamorous because they don't show the outside of it. And then the killer turns up dressed as, Erik says, a bellhop, but she's been disfigured by the disco ball, hasn't she? But you would think that she would know that she'd escaped, wouldn't you? It kind of reminded me a little bit like the ending of was it Evil Laugh, which also starred. I was sure we'll get into background adult actress as well.
Oh, actresses that are grown up. I mean,
yes, adult actors, not children, for a start. So, but Nathan, is there anything else you want to say about before we get on some background?
I wanted to ask Joseph who his two suspects were that he thought was the killer.
Well, I thought Meryl was kind of like the obvious route that they would probably go with, but I thought the new girl was the killer. I thought she was there for some like half-baked reason, like one of the girls was said to have quit, but she was murdered or something, and that would have been her motive. But so I was completely wrong. I really thought it was the new girl.
Cool.
The other thing that made me laugh a little bit, if I can, because you got the really two annoying characters that turn up that have won a competition to be there, and then they get thrown out, don't they, for being annoying by Jim, and then the killer leaves the dance competition, chases them down the road, and hits them with a saucepan, which seems a bit strange.
I thought it was the bucket.
Well, the bucket, maybe it's the bucket. But
they did make fun of her dancing. They heckled her when she was trying to dance.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes more sense then. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, this is already turning into. I think we're one of our more. It's like listening to one of our commentaries, and like a polished commentary, isn't it? Except with more booze.
Except we weren't shitting on.
Yeah. That reminds me. I think you guys need to step it up a little bit. I'm about to get on my second beer.
Well, I hope you heard me opening my. I'm drinking a tall blonde beer.
Ooh,
Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, no, it's what's it called? I don't know. It's a steam beer. It's a blonde, Belgian blonde, and it's quite a strong one, I think, as well. Let's have a look. It's an IPA, Belgian blonde, and it is 7.8% volume. That's quite a lot, isn't it, for a beer? Obviously, the only person who knows about my strength of the beers. So, well, background.
All I know is that I don't drink but like once a year, and it's just for these shows. So I can take a sip of beer, any beer, and I'm like dead.
You're tipsy. Well, it's a bit like me.
I'm going to say something outrageous. It's more outrageous than Joseph saying he doesn't like Hell Night, and that is I
like Hell Night. I like Hell Night, Eric. I like it a little less each time I watch it.
Yes, but I hate beer.
You hate beer? Really?
I like beer.
Have you never had a good beer? I mean, have you never had... I don't know what you'd have in Ireland. I don't know. I've never been to Ireland.
No, I'm a spirits man all the way.
Are you?
Okay. Well, I can't drink that because that would kill me.
Well, obviously in Ireland, I mean, Guinness is the Dublin Guinness and Jameson's, isn't it, in Dublin? So, but you're not a whiskey man either, are you?
I don't mind whiskey. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Mad on
So,
it.
what do you drink? Like
gin,
like clear?
vodka,
I can't drink vodka because vodka turns me violent.
Oh,
does it?
Can't have that.
Yeah. So I don't drink it. You should know, Nathan. We drank it once, and I was like punching holes in walls and stuff.
Oh yeah. I guess like I was very drunk, so that's probably why I don't remember it. I remember waking up the next day and our apartment was trashed.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't
movies
it? People
were everywhere. It was like heartbreaking.
But it's funny that people say there's certain drinks do things, and like people like gin. Some people cry when they're sort of drinking gin. Some people get. A friend of ours gets like really, really aggro on whiskey. So I just love it all. Really, I love gin.
Spoken like a true alcoholic.
Thank you. Yep. I'll drink to that. I do actually drink. I drink a lot less now than I used to. When we first started the podcast, the amount of times that we recorded and I was hungover, you wouldn't believe. But
that's kind of weird because like we started the podcast like Justin was always drunk, and now like 10 years in, Justin's like mostly sober, and I'm always high. So we swap places.
That is true. I do. I don't drink nearly as much as I used to. So I'll drink to that.
Yeah, I did all my drinking when I was like 21, when it was like fun, or before I was 21 when I wasn't supposed to. It was a lot more fun then, but now like I'm old and I can't handle it. I just like ugh.
Well, I don't know if I told you the story.
You're lucky I'm drinking it all today. So.
Well, I don't know if I told you the story that my reason that I think I grew up drinking, because obviously I was a kid in the 70s. And my parents, I used to do when I think I must have been about 4 years old, and I did Cossack dancing on the dinner table where they had a dinner party, and I was drinking their drinks. That's very 70s, isn't it?
What? Please tell us more of this story.
Well, I just remember I was kind of like some idiot savant child, drunk child, Cossack dancing on the dinner table while they were sort of like plying me with drinks. Well, maybe they weren't plying me with drinks. Maybe I had like one sip and I wasn't meant to. And I was just like, I was the entertainment.
How old were you?
About 4 or 5, maybe younger. I can't remember. It was the 1970s.
Who's contributing to the delinquency of a minor here? Was it your parents?
I don't know. No, I think. Well, I can't remember that. All I remember they're all laughing, clapping. It's like a Greek wedding, and I was just Cossack dancing, which is I know it's not Greek, around the dinner table, and they all thought it was hilarious, and I was a bit tipsy. So I don't know who started it, whether or not I got drunk first. I don't know.
Oh, it's all child line.
Eric, can you remember what your first drink was?
Yeah, it was Guinness, and I would have been about 8, but I only had like a few sips, and I thought, ugh. I was like Tom Hanks in Big when he tries the caviar, is it? And he was like, "Oh, can I get a milkshake or something instead?" That was.
You wanted a Kit Kat instead, didn't you?
Yep.
What about you, Nathan? Can you remember your first drink?
No, I really can't. I just don't remember what the first. It was probably beer. I mean, that's probably the first thing that I tried.
This is going to make me look even worse than this show could already make me look. But my first drink was a wine cooler. And I thought I was the hot shit because I was so drunk.
You're so
off of one wine cooler. And now I'm looking back at it and I'm like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing.
I loved them when I was younger.
I'm a little bit embarrassed to ask. I'm not even sure what a wine cooler is. Is that wine and
like West Coast cooler, isn't it?
What is a wine
something
cooler?
Sort of like, yeah, it's sort of like it's like a fruity beer, basically.
So you'd like that, Erik, a fruity beer?
I like a fruity bear.
But is that all it is? It says not wine cooler isn't sort of like wine with fizzy mineral water or anything like that.
Well,
basically it's like fruity drinks with just a little bit of alcohol in it, basically.
A bit like an Athonian.
Well, that has
not as strong, but yeah, something like that.
I think we all that an Athonian is particularly potent.
Yes, and Nathan.
I hope you're enjoying the listeners. I hope they're enjoying this talk of alcohol.
No. Yeah. Did I tell you one last story about my childhood and alcohol consumption? Was that, well, there's two very quickly. One was that my sister's first Holy Communion, and we had that party, and I've probably told the story before, but we obviously brought up Catholic, and my sister's first Holy Communion, and so there was lots of fizzy wine there, like not champagne probably, but me and my friends, I must have been about 11, 12, and so we drank all of the champagne, and then we filled the bottles up with water because we thought we'd get in trouble. So my dad went round the garden filling up people's glasses with water, and everyone was drinking it and looking at it, thinking this is shit wine, and we were shit faced.
You were a tearaway, Justin Kurtzman.
My God, it's like listening to Justin's stories. I keep picturing like it turning into Alice, Sweet Alice at any moment. It's like my sister just went into communion. Now I was dead drunk. Like somebody's going to die here shortly.
Well,
yeah, you were the Inga, Justin. You were Inga.
I was too drunk to get angry. But the other like alcohol related story of childhood one was that I obviously went to Catholic school, and Father Reynolds was our Catholic priest. And don't worry, it's not going the Jimmy Savile route. Don't worry, but it does go the different route. That I don't know. Are you not Catholic? Are you, Erik?
No, Protestant.
No, because you know the weird thing, if you're Catholic, you have to, the first Holy Communion, you have to get married. You have to dress up as if you're getting married. The little girls dress. Have you seen this scenario? You must have seen it in Ireland, with little girls dressed as brides to Christ.
Veil.
But it's
Am I the only one on this show who wasn't raised in a church?
Well,
I know Nathan was Christian and Justin.
Yeah, I was raised
Catholic.
in Southern Baptist Church.
Or Southern Baptist, yeah.
Yeah.
We weren't a particularly religious family.
Okay.
Just by default, we were Protestants. Yeah.
Well,
we were never default anything. We were just, I don't know what we were, but I think I was always an atheist. I don't know.
Well, I think being brought up Catholic made me an atheist, which there's one thing I thank it for. But Father Reynolds, when we did this kind of weird...
We're going to be cancelled.
Sorry?
We're going to be cancelled. All the Catholics are going to cancel.
Well, we won't talk politics. But when I was being married to Christ, back when I was, I don't know, how old would I have been? About, I don't know, 8 or 9. And so my counterpart was dressed like a sort of like 70s, like a Tammy Wynette bride. And Father Reynolds was so drunk that we had to do this dress rehearsal. It's like Drag Race or something. But the Catholic priest was so drunk that he kept on saying, "You little shits," like this to us. And we were only about 8 or 9 because we weren't hitting our marks. And he was like, he was swaying. I always remember he's
words.
Yeah, and he didn't. I think he got moved probably to another church. Is what they did back then, wasn't it? But yeah, he was always drunk, and he was very angry if you didn't hit your mark. So.
If the worst your preacher has ever done, then you consider yourself lucky.
Well, I know. Well, I think I could remember back when I went to church. So I'm so old. It was in Latin when I first went, and it was so boring when I was a kid. So anyway, so now I don't
not much more interesting when it's in English either.
No, not much interesting at all, really. So anyway, well, let's get back. We've diverted into that was our little bar talk, wasn't it? So I'm sure we can talk a little bit more
You
about
get
drinks.
everything. You get everything today with the Drunk Cast. You get no editing whatsoever.
No. So, well, let's get on to
Opulence! You get everything.
Well, yes. And, well, talking of Drag Race, have you been watching Drag Race?
UK, yes.
UK, yeah. What are your thoughts on Drag Race UK this time?
I like it, yeah. You?
Yeah. Well, it's good, isn't it? But
like,
it's...
like BDE, the song BDE, Big Drag Energy.
Yeah. So I'm watching the Canadian one. I think it's a little bit better, if I'm honest. Nathan, what about you? Are you caught up with your drag?
No, I don't have access to it.
Nathan,
does Stripes have access to it?
I don't know. She's desperate for attention.
Oh, bless her. So anyway, talking of cats, I've got Tiger. He's sat next to me. He's the big fatty. So he's been locked out because all the biscuits are outside. So he's with me. He's like the sumo. So he's not. Hopefully, won't be doing sumo wrestling tonight. But so anyway, background. I have some interesting background on a certain person and some of her filmography.
Okay.
Can I mention that just before we? Because Carol Cummings, which I think is a fantastic name for a porn star, isn't it? Was Meryl.
Is that her real name?
Well, that was I don't know if that's a real name or a stage name, but she was Carol.
I know where you're going with this. Yeah, I know where you're going with this and her background. I just want to say before you get into that, she was in one adult film called Hershey Highway 2.
Well,
so
I found
there you go.
a few of her films. Her first film was Who Shaved Trinity Loren? And I had to read this kind of synopsis, only 3 lines. It's Trinity Loren, and this sounds like a must-watch movie. Trinity Loren wakes up one morning to find that she has been shaved between the legs, but has no memory of how it happened. With her husband due back in town soon, she hires a hard-boiled PI to get to the bottom of things. So that sounds like a one to watch. And she was also, the other ones that kind of stood out for me, she was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Breast, which I thought was a very Behind the Back Door 3 and Jungle Beaver. So, and she was also in Psycho Cop Returns. So I don't know which one's more embarrassing, but.
Oh, I love Psycho Cop Returns.
Of course you do, Nathan.
See, I didn't actually know that she was she was in pornographic films before I started researching the film. So I actually watched one of her scenes on like Pornhub or something like that.
For research.
For research.
Yeah, for research purposes. I didn't do anything while I was watching it. Seriously, that's Joseph's time, and I don't talk about that. But she's very photogenic. I'll say that, and more power to her.
Well, I think she's really good in this. I think she's like,
I do too.
She's great.
She's my favorite character.
Yeah. So but also, it was interesting, wasn't it? Because we've gotten, all respect for adult actors and actresses. No shade there at all. But it's kind of interesting that quite a few of these low-budget 90s and 80s movies had adult stars in them, which is great to see them, doing a straight role, for want of a better term. And say, as mentioned, but it's interesting actually to have a film, because I think in, I can't remember her name now, but the woman who was in Evil Laugh went on to adult being an actress in adult movies, and also the actress in Cheerleader Camp and various things like that. Whereas this, I don't know if this is one of the few times that you've actually got an actress that's an adult star who comes into kind of a role like this. And I guess a lot of them wouldn't have been able to do kind of, America's got such a weird relationship with morality, isn't it? I mean, obviously, like, violence is fine, but sex is kind of, so
that's
like,
putting it lightly.
Yeah. But it's kind of like to actually be able to, it's this kind of low budget movie that you could come in to do something like this. But I know she kind of carried on with her adult career while at the same time she was doing this. And also I think she retired fairly quickly from all of that. But I think, I thought she was really good in this. I thought she was fun. And also, I mean, it says
Can I just say real quick, my thing I've noticed with a lot of these, like, people who've done like say like rappers or adult actresses or actors, typically when they come into like mainstream fare, they're really good. Like Tracy Lords, when she came into mainstream, I thought she was really. A lot of rappers who were just go around rapping, they turn out to be good actors. So for my money, like a lot of these adult actresses who move into mainstream fare, I say let them, because they're actually really good. Typically, they're better than like just your standard musicians. Usually, like someone like you get a Selena or a Jennifer Lopez, I don't think make the transition very well. But strangely enough, adult actresses typically do.
Well, I was kind of thinking sort of like, obviously Erik was in Anal Paprika 4. So how did you find...
Paprika 4.
Yeah, he was in part 5.
Oh, 5,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's right.
It was 5. So how do you find working in the mainstream now, Erik?
I find it very, it's kind of difficult, to be honest, because people keep bringing up the past.
Okay. And is that because you look back at the past and you wish you were still...
We spent 10 years talking about the past, Erik.
Yes. I wish Bob Hoskins had a porn past.
I bet I can imagine in your dreams, Erik. I told you that dream I had, didn't I? I mentioned the last.
You did?
Yeah.
Where Bob was naked.
And I was wrestling with him. How strange is that?
Yeah.
That's 10 years of listening to Erik, fap about Bob Hoskins. It finally got to you, Justin.
Well, it's because also we saw the Long Good Friday, and then Bob Hoskins has, like the Francie at the beginning of this movie, where she's very enthusiastically has very dirty breasts and has to spend quite a long time making sure they're clean. That Bob Hoskins does the same thing in Long Good Friday, doesn't he? His shower scene.
Oh yeah, that's why it's the best film ever.
Oh, Erik. Oh, dear.
Can I ask you guys? I haven't seen The Long Good Friday. First of all, is it a good movie? What's it about essentially?
Well, gangsters in the East End of London.
Yeah. Okay, but it's a good movie, right?
It's a really good movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys keep posting the same GIF or GIF or whatever you want to call it of Bob Hoskins like smiling and then kind of frowning in the car, because I don't understand what's going on in that image.
No, he's not masturbating in the car.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
Conclusion to jump to.
It's just every time you post it, it's always after something like, my God, I feel so horny. And you're trying to get me and Justin to sleep with you and everything.
Well, that Long Good Friday, it's also got Pierce Brosnan in a shower, about to, basically pretending to be a twink to lure somebody in. Not Bob Hoskins, I don't think.
Is this like the gangster version of Cruising?
Not really, exactly. It's a really good movie. I hadn't seen it. It's one of those movies I hadn't seen, and it's for a long. I thought I'd seen it, and I just not watched it. And we watched it, and I thought, oh, I've not seen this. I obviously heard about it, and I think it had a reputation at the time of being quite edgy. But yeah, no, it's good, and Bob Hoskins is great in it. But I don't fancy him, Erik. I'm sorry.
How can you not fancy him? Are you not human?
I think I preferred Jim Tim in Last Dance, if I'm honest.
I forgot to mention, speaking... Go ahead, Nathan.
Oh, I was just saying you prefer him, even though he is a big, serial sleeper around her.
Well, I don't think my boobs are big enough for him. But
no.
Mine might be.
Yours might be. Yeah.
I was going to mention about Jim. I forgot to mention it, but when I was watching the film, I was trying to think of descriptors for certain characters so I can remember them better. And I was like, he's like the discount Paul Rudd, but he's got better hair. And Jim had like the most magnificent head of hair. Did you notice how much body it had? It's like he obviously spends a lot of money on like conditioners and stuff.
Well, he had a lot of staying power, didn't he? Because he could have, given that you've got like that, the logistical nightmare of putting on Miss Teen TV or whatever it was, Dance Off TV, whatever bullshit name they gave to it, he could find time to sleep with all the dancers as well during it, and that's time management.
Spent on all this stuff going on. Yeah, it's like you'd think he'd be like a pile of nerves or like just frazzled, but no, he looks wonderful.
Well, he's channeling Jim from Boarding House.
Oh. Yes.
And have you, talking of Boarding House, Nathan, have you seen is it 12-hour, is it the Andy Warhol cut, 24 hours or not?
I've seen the 2.5 hour cut and I loved it.
I'm a little miffed. I mean, obviously we've never worked with these people, you and I, Nathan, at least, but I'm a little miffed that we didn't get asked to do a commentary for that, if I'm honest.
Oh, I would have loved to have done a commentary for Boarding House.
What, 2.5 hours?
Wasn't it a Screen Factory? Who was it, Nathan? Put that out. Severin, maybe?
I can't remember. The copy that I have is Slasher Video.
Well, someone just re-released it, and I know they were a partner of Vinegar Syndrome, and I'm trying to remember who it was, but I saw that, and I was like, man, I would have killed to done a commentary for that. Even the 3-hour cut, I think I could have had the staying power for that.
Oh yeah, there's so much to talk about.
Well, talking of things that we can talk about, obviously Vinegar Syndrome have just released Nothing Underneath on, and also Too Beautiful to Die, double bill, Giallo, and we had a lot of fun with Nothing Underneath, didn't we, as a commentary? So yeah, if you enjoy our commentaries,
that was one of our better commentaries as of late, I think, in my opinion.
Can we mention the other one we've done for Vinegar Syndrome? Because I know they've announced the title. Have they announced the extras?
Well, no. Well, they did Shallow Grave. That's out, so everyone knows about that. Nothing Underneath. There's 2 more that they've announced. They've announced the titles, but they haven't announced the extras. So
we have nothing to do with them. Nothing. We're not on them at all.
Honestly, you know what? This is a drunk cast. I'll take the heat for this. They should be announcing this any day now. But basically, we're on.
And if we're not, then we're going to sue, and then we'll just put them out anyway. So, but we should be.
Listen, when I go back to get this episode ready, when I'm sober, I'll decide whether or not to cut that out. But otherwise, if I decide to leave it in, now you know. So there you go.
Well, can we mention the Arrow commentary on that has recently been slightly unveiled?
Well, Justin has some interesting information on that, don't you, Justin? About what happened, or
you're trying to throw me under the bus now?
Yeah,
well, you're the one who brought it up with David, one of our Facebook friends. You don't have to say the title, but
we have done. Well, we have done. We are working with Arrow on. All I'll say is that we are working with Arrow on. We have done a. Well, how can I put it? This in obliquely, if that's the right word. That we have worked with Arrow as we have done in the past, and there may be an early 80s slasher movie coming out that we had some involvement with, which won't come as a huge surprise. But Arrow have. Did screen this during their Fright Fest thing recently. So, and also, well, there's other stuff as well in the pipeline, and which is Anyway, so we have lots of stuff.
Gas.
Sorry.
Gas.
That's
in the pipeline.
Well,
it's in the pipeline.
One thing I can say is we're not necessarily, as of yet, on these releases coming up. As far as commentary wise, but there are some rather interesting 70s movies coming out through Vinegar Syndrome that I think a lot of people are going to like. I'm obviously not going to say the titles, but there's one I'm really hoping they ask us for the commentary for. I think I mentioned it to you, Justin. We'll talk about that off air, but if we could do a commentary on that one in particular, that would be so awesome.
Axum.
That's from the 70s, Eric.
Was it Bear Bukaki 4? That's the one Erik was keen on, wasn't it?
I want to do a commentary on.
You announced the title on air. You're not supposed to do that.
I think I'll tell you what would be funny if you, Joseph, if you just beep out lots of this, so it just sounds like really beepy.
Yeah, let's just talk like as if we're talking to one another, and then I'll just beep it out.
Just beep it all out because that'll add a little bit of
In the
color.
meantime, Kuna Matata.
So we probably should get back to the background. Last dance.
Well, no, I seriously need to Kuna Matata, so I'll be back.
It's PP time, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Is that like?
Okay, well,
is that like the white?
Here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I'm just gonna put in some promos here while Erik goes PP.
Is that?
But feel free to keep talking. I'll just mute myself.
So Kuna Matata, is that like It's basically Erik. He's got a suitcase, and it's like the White Lotus.
Ew! I need a wee, not a poo.
Are you sure?
I am very sure. I know the difference after 47 years.
But why are you still here? Are you not peeing while we're talking, are you?
No, I'm going now.
Okay.
Bye.
Oh, it's a chance to talk about Erik. Anyway, I've got a joke of the week coming up for Erik.
Oh, do you?
You have a joke.
I have a joke of the week. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Keep it under wraps.
While we're waiting on him to come back, so we can talk about background. Let me ask Nathan. Nathan, what do you prefer between? And I'll leave this in the show, but what do you prefer between Last Dance and Bikini Island, which is exactly the same movie, apparently. I haven't seen Bikini Island in a while, but apparently they're the exact same movie. But which of the two do you prefer?
I prefer Last Dance. I think it's because Last Dance was the first one I saw, and I loved it. And it's got, I think I find the characters in Last Dance a little more memorable.
Well, which one came first?
Bikini Island came first.
Did they shoot them back to back?
I mean, Bikini Island was like 91 and Last Dance was 92, according to IMDb anyway.
But don't they keep on saying I was going to say, like, all the way through Last Dance, they go, like, Miss Dance TV, whatever it is, 1991.
Well, I had a question. Isn't Adam Rifkin one of the, like, the goofy guys who gets who wins the contest and he gets thrown out, the director?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, he was under like Riff Coogan or some kind of stage name under this, but apparently, I know this is getting into background. I won't get too much into this while Eric's gone, but apparently he's gone on to do a few big kind of Hollywood films, but apparently he always uses the name Riff Coogan or whatever that name is as when he's doing these kind of low budget films, and then he uses his real name for stuff like he did The Chase with Charlie Sheen and another movie I can't remember off the top of my head, but I thought that was kind of interesting. How he separates the two.
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd have to.
But
actually, funny to laugh at me. So
funny.
There he is.
Funny enough, I saw The Chase at the cinema. Who's got their bloody Facebook open? Who is it?
Not me.
What?
What are you talking about?
Something's beeping, pinging, or is it me? Hold on.
Maybe I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, maybe
it's not me.
Stuart saying, "Hey, can I get out?"
It ain't me. It ain't me. Somebody's got their messenger open or something. Something's pinging.
It's not me. Hang on, let me look.
Let me look. No, I've not gotten any notifications.
Yeah.
Me either. I don't know what's going on, Justin. It's something with you.
Oh no, it's me. Don't worry.
Yeah, I knew it would be you.
It's my email. I do apologise if I've been pinging in the background. Anyway, so I'm sorry if I fingered the wrong person.
Sorry,
guys.
Who's in The Chase with Charlie Sheen?
Christy Swanson.
Yeah, but what's she do with Last Dance?
No, I was talking about how the director Adam Rifkin. He used like the name. I can't remember the name exactly. It's like Riff something or another, but he uses those kind of that goofy name when he did stuff like this in Bikini Island. But when he did some of the Hollywood films, he used his real name.
Riff Coogan.
Riff Coogan. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well,
anyway,
what kind of?
But yeah, he just directed The Chase, and that's how we got The Chase. Erik.
Well, let's bring us back, and let's try and be focused for at least 30 seconds. On the background.
30 seconds.
On the background of Last Dance. So who's got something for us?
I have a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can confirm that Last Dance did play on the infamous USA Network's Up All Night, at least twice that I know of. Once on Saturday, July 10th, 1993 at 11 p.m., and then again on Saturday of November 18th of 1995 at 11 p.m. The time frame for both showings would suggest that was a USA Up All Night. It also played on an unidentified channel out of Idaho on Friday, September 9th, 1994 at 9 p.m. They're thinking that's probably a Showtime or a Cinemax showing. Allison Ray, who played Dana, is now apparently a psychiatrist in New York. And I thought Dana was really hot, and that's all the background I have.
Well, thank you. Erik, what have you got for us?
I thought Dana was really hot.
I don't
did
believe
you mention
you.
Elaine Hendricks, Joseph? No. Elaine Hendricks, who plays Kelly, who is the killer. Spoiler alert.
Sorry, Eric. She has a pretty big career ahead of her.
Yes,
Joseph,
she's from
this is Eric's
Tennessee.
background. This is Eric's background, Joseph.
My background.
Yeah, I was just reiterating some of the things he said. This is a drunk.
You hadn't said them yet.
Suck my big toe. Suck my big toe, Justin.
Hey,
she's from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Is that anywhere near you guys? Oak Ridge.
Oak Ridge is about 300 miles away. It's the infamous site of the nuclear meltdown.
Okay, so you'd probably know her then.
Yeah, she's my next door neighbor, Eric.
Yeah. Anyway, I know her best, and I'm sure that Nathan knows her best as Lisa Luder from Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion, which is the best movie ever. And that's my background. Bye.
Well, thank you. But Nathan, surely we haven't got the painted in no.
Do you guys know that one of the obnoxious party goers actually directed The Invisible Maniac?
No way.
No.
Yes.
Silent Bob or the other one?
Silent Bob.
Really?
Long-haired guy. He directed Invisible Maniac. He also directed Psycho Cop Returns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that Adam Rifkin?
That's Adam Rifkin.
Yeah. Oh. Adam Rifkin. Yeah, I love Invisible Maniac, so I had to mention that one.
Did we not cover Invisible Maniac?
We did.
It's about a maniac who's like totally invisible.
How could I forget?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I don't have much else that we haven't already talked about, so that's all I got.
Okay. Well, the only background I've got is that apparently the guy who played the janitor.
Yes.
He was arrested the year after that he'd killed 14 children.
Is this your joke of the week or is this real?
No, I just made that up. I made that up. There was in case his lawyers are listening. No, I made that up. I have no background. Sorry, no.
My God, what a bizarre thing to make up about somebody.
Justin, you're troubled.
Thank you. Well, I was gossip dancing when I was 4 years old on vodka. So
true.
And suddenly, everything starts to make a little more sense.
So, well, I guess that kind of brings us to the inevitable part of the evening. But before we get on to the joke of the week, let's see what people have thought about whatever film we're talking about. Over to you, Joseph.
Yeah, not a lot of feedback on this. We had 18 comments, and from that, Bob Bobbinson. This is a cool name, Eric. I think you'd like that, Bob Bobbinson.
I do like it.
Yeah, Bob Bobbinson writes, I love this one for the killer's unconventional implement of choice. I always like a robicide for the giant nappy diaper pen, but this one in the motion picture Last Dance is even more unconventionaler. Is that a word? I don't think it is.
Not sure it is.
Yeah, as it is not pointy or stabby in the slightest. It's more a sort of clatter, bang, and thud kind of thing. Can you really have a slasher movie without a slashing tool of some sort? Yes, a bucket. Excuse me. That was from Bob Bobbinson. Sorry, I had a little gas there, Bob Bobbinson. Ingo Dirk Schneider, he was featured on our Halloween Kills episode, and he writes, "Oh, look, it's a slasher about erotic dancers who avoid nudity like the plague. On stage, maybe, but not back behind the scenes, Ingo. In a sleazy strip joint, which still pays the dancers a fortune and manages to get a show televised, being bumped off one by one. It is so stupid that it's quite hilarious. Problem is, the harebrained story and the wooden acting make it impossible to engage with it." And I would totally disagree with him there. It doesn't help that the not very inventive kills are off screen and the budget for fake blood was about $1. Mildly entertaining, but generally meh. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, the Hysteria continues at gmail.com. I'll let you guys throw those disparate elements together to reach a conclusion. I'm much too hammered at this point to be any more coherent, so I'll pass this on to the next person.
Well, I was going to say, one thing I thought would be a fun talking point before we get to Joke of the Week was what would our erotic dancer stripper kind of name be? And I know that I was thinking that, and I thought...
Sorry. I was going to say, you said, I want to get into this before we get on the joke of the week. And I'm like, yeah, because that's not going to be a talking point.
No, but I was thinking, then I suddenly thought that, of course, you know, the whole thing is like, what is your stripper name? It's your pet, your first pet, and your grandmother's maiden name. And then I realised, but that also means that people consider your
Oh
chip
my
and
God.
pin. So, no, because people consider your chip and pin, can't they, if they know who your grandmother was? So, without doing that, if you can think of your second pet, the one you don't use as a password, and maybe another relative's name or a made-up name, what would yours be, Joseph?
Well, I'll give you my first one because my grandmother has nothing to do with any kind of password I have. So my stripper name would be German Loudermilk.
Wow. So I like that. Nathan, what would your stripper name be? Your erotic dancer name? If you were going to be in Last Dance, you were one of the 6 girls called to be like the top dancers in LA on that night, what would you be called?
Carol Cummings.
Wow, where'd you get that name?
Yeah, that's uncanny.
I'm not good with erotic names.
Well,
I would be Diamond, something like that.
Diamond.
Some kind of jewel.
You was a diamond, yeah.
I can mention.
No, it's basically, Nathan, it's basically the name of your first pet and your grandmother's maiden name. So what would it be?
Oh, okay. We're doing it that way. Okay. So let's see. I guess it would be Spunky Coleman.
Pardon?
Very good.
I like that one. That's cool.
Is Spunky the name of your pet or your grandmother?
It was the name of my first pet.
Oh my God, Nathan's catwalk entrance could be like Funky Cole Medina, but it'd be like Spunky Cole Medina. Dun, 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 dun.
Well, now you do realise, Nathan, that everyone now has your chip and pin.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't use.
Well, very wise.
Those questions.
Very wise. Well, Erik, are you wise like that or not?
Frisky Humperdinck.
Frisky Humperdinck.
Oh, come on.
Well,
Yep.
Are you really related to the Humperdinck?
I'm not related to the Humperdinks, no, but my mother's maiden name would possibly be somewhere in my chip and pin universe, I think. So it's
okay.
best not.
Oh, so you're not related to Engelbert?
No.
I love how
Frisky was my first pet. Frisky was my first pet. A cat we had when I was very young called Frisky.
I do love the fact that is it Boomer every time it's kind of the way he shakes as like a full stop or like a little clap or something. Is it Boomer or is?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's Axel and Boomer, but Boomer's the one that's always like, all up on me when I'm trying to do the podcast. That was Axel.
Oh, bless.
Wow,
he's yawning.
Oh, did you hear that dog? Oh my God. I'm so fucking drunk. Oh my God.
What's up, Axel? What's up?
How many sips have you had now, Joseph?
Well, I've had 2 pints of beer. I'm on my last chug. I have 3 ounces left in my second pint of beer, and I've also I'm really high as well, so it's double time.
It's a heady recipe.
Yeah.
Do you know what mine would be? Mine would be Twinkle Gulch.
Gulch? From the Witch of the Wizard of Oz? That makes sense.
Does it?
Where's Gulch come from?
Well, Gulch, you're like a witch. You're like an old gothy witch. That would make sense.
It's an old Devonshire name. Well, anyway, are we just gone? I think, actually, probably, do you know what time it is?
Yes.
It's probably time to finish. But we still have this to go.
Oh, God, make me laugh. Make me laugh.
It's my joke of the week. It's so freaking fantastic.
So there's an alternate ending to this film where the killer explains that her main motive was that she'd been driven insane after running out of knickers. It was going to be called Last Pants.
I'd watch it.
I don't think that.
I'm sorry, Eric. That was a 3-trombone joke.
I don't think the joke was all that great, but I love Eric's delivery.
The joke was great, I think you'll find.
Oh.
I have a joke of the week.
How dare you?
Oh.
It's my joke of the week. It's so fucking fantastic.
I bet you didn't know that Eric was a bird fancier. But can you guess what his favourite bird is? Well, I've heard he's partial to a cockatoo.
Don't you dare laugh at that.
I was more laughing at. I would love to hear like.
I hate you.
The unfortunate applause to die down. I was more laughing at the fact that I would love to hear a jingle of like Justin singing it, like "It's my joke of the week. It's absolutely fantastic."
That's too.
It could happen
for Justin's voice.
Maybe. What do you mean? I've a beautiful voice. Well, just because you got a face.
You're a cheap whore.
Just because you got a face for radio, Eric.
Where are we?
Yes,
Where are we, guys? I don't know where we are.
Well, we're almost at the end of the show, I guess.
Yes.
So any other booze-related stories that we can leave
I've got
on?
some feedback.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes, feedback.
Feedback.
This is from Stephen. He says, "Hey, team. Eric is really sexy. How did he get to be so sexy? He's brilliant also and really intelligent. Yours sincerely, Stephen." Well, apart from that, that's the first paragraph. He then goes on to say, "I thought I'd highlight a bunch of curio horrors being added to Amazon this week. The 1988 movie with the final Joe Spinell performance, The Undertaker, and Amsterdam, which is still amazing. I don't think you've covered either previously. Still loving the podcast after all these years." And that's from Stephen. Yeah, so I checked Amazon Prime here in Ireland, Stephen, and neither of those films are available here, I'm afraid. I don't know where you're based, possibly the States. But I've seen Amsterdam. I've never seen The Undertaker, which sounds like a film that Justin would like.
We were offered a commentary on The Undertaker, but we declined it at the time. But
we have standards, don't we?
Yeah, we have standards. I think it's because we just really didn't know much about it.
Savage Water. We don't have standards.
I know we have standards, very low standards. I haven't seen The Undertaker, but didn't Joe Spinell die? Did he die making it? Or is I'm thinking?
It was a couple
I think he did. Yeah. But Amsterdam is a lot of fun. It's got the killer in the canals of wherever that's set.
Amsterdam?
In the scuba diving suit. Yeah. Amsterdam. Yeah. You'd think I'd know that, me being so drunk and high.
Well, also the clue is in the title.
Yeah, Justin, give me a break, man. Come on.
Man. Chill, daddy-o.
Yeah, cool. Jive, turkey, cat, whatever.
God, it's like being on Scooby-Doo. With Shaggy.
Sure.
So
he's whacked out on Scooby snacks.
Oh, I fancy Scooby snack actually. I'm quite peckish now.
Me too.
I wonder why you're peckish, Joseph.
Yeah.
So anyway, last things, because obviously we don't want this to turn to another. Because last time, wasn't it? It was 3 Erik extravaganza, and we're going to try and keep it a little bit more succinct. But I think the major talking point for tonight has to be why
my amazing joke of the week.
No, why Nathan hasn't got his knighthood yet.
Oh, yeah, I know. And you said that you were going to have tea with Liz and talk to her about it, but
She's been a little bit
got
distracted this year.
You're obviously
though.
a liar, Justin Kurzweil.
Eh?
You're obviously a liar. And you've broken Nathan's heart. Well done.
No, I was going to have a chat with Liz, but then it all went a little bit difficult for her, like Prince Andrew and her husband dying and stuff like that. So you know, I tried, but she's a bit distracted, and she is 95, and but if I get her ear, then you will be knighted.
Yay! That's what I want.
Sorry.
Oh,
it's Toya joined us.
Oh, no, it sounds like a Susie single. Is that Susie's new single?
Nathan can back me up on this. Oh my god.
What?
The vapor, the THC carts, it makes you cough so bad. It's like it'll get you high and stuff, but my god, it's like ugh.
Have you thought about maybe rejecting drugs and maybe letting Christ into your heart?
Well, I thought about it, and then I laughed. And then I recorded this episode for the world to listen to. So here's your answer.
Well, so are we? I'd say last drinking. What's the most embarrassing thing you've done through alcohol, Erik?
Oh my god. Apart from this episode?
Apart from this episode, or the last one, or the one before that. Or when, Erik, do you remember when you flashed us?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yes. Was that any other funny stories you want to tell us about when you've been...
Yes, I was very drunk on the streets of Sitges once and flashed a policeman. Yeah.
Did you? Did he get his truncheon out?
No. I also vomited on the dance floor of a nightclub in London.
Oh. Was Toya playing?
Sorry?
Oh,
Toya was not playing. How dare you? It's like Susie song came on and made me feel sick. Haha, in your face, Justin.
Well, yes. So, but what happened with the policeman? Did you feel the long arm of the law?
I'm not sure if the policeman saw it.
Well, I'm not surprised. It's probably need a magnifying glass.
It can be seen from space.
Well, it's funny how he missed it, wasn't it?
He was looking the other way. Brent anxiously trying to get me to put it away.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You mean the cop didn't drop to his knees and pleasure you or anything?
He would have if he'd seen it because it's irresistible.
He couldn't see it. He didn't have his magnifying glass with him.
How dare you?
I've already made that joke. Jesus Christ.
What?
I've already made that joke.
Joseph,
you did?
Already made that joke, and it wasn't funny.
Dude, look who you're talking to. Come on.
What?
Don't break.
Well, okay.
How am I supposed to keep track of all this stuff? I'm like the worst one.
All right, Joseph, what about you?
Are you asking me what my most embarrassing drunk story is?
Yeah.
Well, I went to a party. This is funny. The girl, my girlfriend, my current girlfriend, we were dating 15 years ago. So I went to a party with her, and it was at this her friend's house, and her entire family are Armenian. And so I don't know if there's a correlation between Armenians and having lots of booze and lots of good food, but they made sure I was well fed and well placated with alcohol. And apparently whatever they had made me black out, and they got this on video, and I've made sure it's since been deleted, but apparently I was doing naked cartwheels in their backyard.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so that's probably my most embarrassing thing, although I wasn't really embarrassed because everyone was complimenting my willy, unlike Erik. The cop laughed at his willy.
No, he wasn't laughing.
He wasn't laughing at his willy. He couldn't see it.
No, no, but seriously, apparently I did naked cartwheels in their backyard, and I don't remember it. So that's probably my most embarrassing drunk story.
Okay, well, thank you. Nathan, how about you?
Well, aside from our last podcast, which is probably number one on my list.
Yeah, Nathan's been a little subdued this episode.
I mean, I've been drinking. It's a little early to be as trash as I was last time. I guess the only thing I could think of is I did the worm on a cruise ship when I was wasted.
I did that while sober. Not in a
Are you talking?
Well, it's the funny is like what Nathan remembers as his most embarrassing. I could probably name 2 stories that are probably more embarrassing. Being his roommate.
Well, yeah, like I just like most of the time, like back then, I just didn't remember the next day, so I was trying to go with what I can remember.
Well, how about the one where you were at like an office party or something, and you needed a ride home, so I came downtown to pick you up. And you were so drunk that you were passed out in the middle of the road in a busy city.
Oh yeah, I fell too. I fell.
I literally had to pick Nathan up and throw him over my shoulder and carry him to the car. He was like passed out, dead drunk.
I was a lot lighter back then.
Yeah, I don't think I could carry him now, especially with my back.
So, but you say you did you use the worm? What do you say? You mean tequila sort of worm?
No, I did the dance, the worm.
Yeah, it's like a caterpillar, I think it's called.
Oh, I thought you meant you drunk. I thought you meant you ate the worm in the tequila.
Around out of water, but.
Well, it's a bit like that cop that saw Eric's penis and did the worm. But anything else, Nathan?
Big giant worm, like from Prometheus.
What, like from Tremors or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tremors.
What?
Yeah.
I was just making Tremors sound fancy.
Yeah.
And classy.
And you did a good job, Nathan.
You did a very good job. Is there anything else?
I'm just as classy as Mrs. Brown's boys.
Well, that's really not classy. In
no,
fact,
it's so classy.
In fact, we've actually got
the Oscar Wilde of modern.
We've got a bunch of DVDs of Mrs. Brown's Boys at their charity shop thing that I kind of volunteer at,
and they go like hotcakes.
It's like hotcakes if nobody wants to touch them. So they've been there for about a year gathering dust, and nobody wants them. But Nathan,
nobody wants to watch anything classy, apparently.
Well, but Nathan, what else? What other drunken exploits have you been up to?
Somebody's peeing.
Oh my god!
Joseph,
Jesus Christ.
Hold on.
I can't
let me
think
finish.
of anything else. I mean, just aside from being goofy and ridiculous when I've had too many.
Well, fair enough. I've as you can imagine, I've never had any embarrassing instance when I've been drunk.
Get Stuart on the phone.
Well, the only one did I mention when I had explosive diarrhea in the dunes.
No,
it gets worse. It gets worse because
explosive diarrhea, Justin Carswell. I never put those two together. But
well, I tell you, it gets so much worse because I went to Gran Canaria about 10 years ago, and we went to a place called the Jumbo Center, which is. Have you ever been to the Jumbo Center?
I've never been to Gran Canaria, but I know about the Jumbo Center.
Jumbo Center is kind of like this inverted ziggurat. If you imagine like a pyramid, it goes down, and by day it's just like tourist tap, but by night it's like it's the last nights of Rome, but in a budget version with like bad eyeshadow. So there's lots of drag bars and stuff, like lots of people getting drunk. And we went to a drag bar called Sparkles Show Bar. I've mentioned this story before or not?
I don't recall it.
Okay.
I don't recall this at all.
Well, we went to
Sparkles. I want to hear the explosive diarrhea.
Well, we went to Sparkle Show Bar, and we were like, there was like some very hardened drag queens, basically, who'd been there for a long time. And we were like, there's four of us, and we were like having a great time. And these like, all these naked, half naked waiters were bringing us like these weird shots of blue Curacao and green liqueurs and stuff like that. And we were clapping, and I was videoing the whole thing. I just bought a video recorder. This is probably 15 years ago. And then we watched it back later, realised I shown the back of the room. There's just people like knitting and rifling through their handbags. And we were like singing Sweet Caroline, and we were just like really getting into it. And one of the drag queens did Amy Winehouse, and and ran out and ran onto a Bucking Bronco about half a mile away, and we were all watching and clapping. So the next morning I was feeling a little bit delicate. So we went down to the gay beach on Gran Canaria, and our friends were I was not really into beach and stuff like that, but our friends were really into just lying on the beach and sort of parading and stuff like that. And I suddenly thought, oh my God, it's about half an hour walk away from our apartment. And I suddenly thought, oh my God, I've got like really bad cramps. I really need to go to the toilet. And I was in the middle of nowhere in these dunes. So I had to walk back, and I walked back across the dunes. And this is where they filmed Lawrence of Arabia, right? And before that, we'd seen this football team. Come on, no, listen to this. This football team that they were like it was the Gran Canaria football team, and they were jogging. We'd seen them earlier, and they're all like shirtless and very handsome, and we're thinking, oh, lovely. And then I suddenly thought, I can't hold this anymore. So I pulled down my trousers and I basically took a dump in the dunes just as the Gran Canaria football team jogged past.
Oh, Justin.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Me getting my willy in front of policemen doesn't seem so bad then.
I'm sorry, Eric. I apologize.
Yeah,
story trumps yours.
So anyway, that's one of the few times that I've been embarrassed and done embarrassing things. But so anyway, there you go. So I think we probably hit a wall.
We hit a high mark.
Yep.
Or a very low mark. So I think there might have been quite a lot of bleeping to do with this later, Joseph.
I'm leaving it as is.
No, not that. I'm talking about all the stuff that we talked about, stuff that we're doing that we're not being cleared with our lawyers, if we had any.
Oh yeah. I will beat that. So yeah. Okay.
So okay, right.
We're doing a commentary track on Scream Factory's upcoming Blu-ray of Beaches.
Yeah.
What with
Bette Midler is very horrifying, isn't she?
Talking of which, I thought, going back to that Don't Breathe 2, I thought, how much fun would that be if it was actually a seal rather than a Navy SEAL? Would that be scary?
That would be very scary, Justin.
But wouldn't a seal have to be in water?
Well, it could be in water.
Seals are kind of navy, aren't they? They have that kind of bluey tinge to them.
I guess so. Well, so anyway.
So what are we covering next time, Justin?
Okay. And it's
your choice. So.
It's my choice. Well, I thought, given that we've gone through
Beaches,
yes. We've gone through all of the more recent films, and obviously Nathan has taken it back to the 90s with Last Dance, which we're very grateful for, Nathan. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I thought we are going to take us a little bit further back to An American Nightmare via Canada. So American Nightmare is a very relatively obscure movie from the early 80s.
83 or?
Well, it's 83, but I think it was filmed in 81, I think. It was kind of it's like a Canadian slasher movie called American Nightmare, which is little seen, but actually I think it's worth talking about. So I thought it'd take us right back into our wheelhouse of the early 80s. And,
I want to cover beaches.
Well, if you lie in one, you might cover quite a lot of it, Eric. So
you are.
Oh, that was sharp. Oh my God, Eric, how are you going to come back from that?
I hate you, you whore! I hate you, whore! I hate you.
Wow! See what you did now.
God, we're either we're going to lose a lot of listeners or we're going to gain a lot of listeners. I don't think there's any in between here.
There's no.
Well, we lost one by my antics in our last drunk cast.
Yeah.
We did. Do you remember that there was like a fantastic feedback, and it was an impassioned plea from somebody. I think maybe they were German. I'm not sure. Said, "Please, no more drunk casts. I can't take it."
Yeah.
Which is not something Eric said on a Saturday night. Anyway.
They talk like we've been doing these drunk casts for like every episode, which honestly, it probably sounds like it.
Well, I kind of guessed that. It's kind of people thought that with the Rob Zombie, because there are fans of Rob Zombie movies out there somewhere, and I for one, I can't wait to see his version of the Munsters. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic, but but Last Dance, I probably isn't going to be. Do you think, Nathan? I know it's a a favorite of yours, but do you think there are people who would die on that hill for this movie?
Oh, maybe just me, but I'm okay with that.
Well, that's fair enough. Well,
he's okay with us being drunk and stuff, so he's the only one who likes this movie. I'm
just trying to think. Are there any more slasher movies that are booze based?
Berserker.
Well, they get drunk and play strip monopoly. Oh no, they get stoned and play strip monopoly in Friday the 13th. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what other ones if there's any other slash movies around the bar, because obviously we are future planning for next year if we ever make it that far for what we could do. Maybe Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Wait, that's not a slasher movie, but Grabbers was about.
Grabbers is good.
Yeah, Grabbers is good.
People having to get drunk to prevent themselves from being eaten by monsters who are allergic to alcohol.
That's a good movie. I like that movie.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can go off piste.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we're all piste at the moment.
We are rather piste at the moment. So
I'm very piste. Oh my God.
So, is there anything left to say because we are going to hit the
Well, I wonder what we're playing out with, Nathan.
Oh, well, I want to play out with the opening song because I know all the lyrics to it.
Are you going to sing
music type
yes.
song?
Nathan, I know all the lyrics.
How about, I know this is a crazy idea and I just pulled this out of wherever, but why don't we get the band back together and sing the final song?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I thought you were going to ask for
Susan
Cheese with some song.
I don't know the words.
Hysteria Misfits.
The Hysteria Misfits.
Ooh, the Twisted Hysteria. You're joining us. There's no way we're joining the Hysteria Misfits.
Yeah, you're joining the Misfits.
They're losers.
The only thing...
Well, they're winners.
The funny thing is that we don't actually have the song to play out with. So that's a missed opportunity, unfortunately. Tumbleweed.
Can't throw down, so pump up the sound and let it be known. Just spread the word around. Tonight's the night. We're going to make it right. Party people in the house. Come on, get hot. I know you're ready, so let's rock steady. Take a chance. Come on, let's dance. Let your body move. If you're in the groove, it's all up to you. What have you got to lose?
Whoa.
Thank you.
Well, I don't think I can come back from that one.
I didn't want to sing all of it because that would take forever.
Awesome.
But
that was awesome.
That was very good.
Just gonna say, how about there is a light and it never goes out.
Never heard of it.
I wager that apart from the people who wrote that song, you're probably the only person who can recite those lyrics.
Probably.
If we're doing like fast raps, then Eric and I need to get the band back together for Informer, Eric.
Or Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. So, anyway, well, let's play out with that
what
song.
are we playing out with, Eric?
That song.
Nathan? I'm sorry.
With that song.
We're playing out with that song, aren't we?
Okay.
So, anyway, we're back with An American Nightmare. So, rather than this nightmare. And thank you for listening to The Hysteria Continues. And hopefully, if you've been drinking Nathanians, you have survived the night. And if you haven't, then, well, it's not our fault. We legally didn't ask you to drink Nathanians because they sound pretty deadly to me. So anyway, we will catch you next time on The Hysteria Continues. So thank you for listening. And so say goodbye to the good people.
Bye to the good people.
Bye to the good people.
Goodbye.
Good hi to the good people.